DBSCG things.
What's up, Yuhp gang? It's your boy Taxon, and welcome back to Yuhp DBSCG Things. And today we're going over another very exciting battle, guys. It's going to be round 2 of our local this week. This is going to be Supreme Kai of Time versus Red Sin Shenron. But before we get into it, guys, I do want to say if you guys want any custom mats and or sleeves, absolutely check out Promats, guys. This is the best place to go get your custom card needs, and if you guys do decide to get a mat from them, make sure you guys use the promo code Yuhp to save on your entire order. With that being said, guys, if you guys enjoyed that battle or my content in general, remember to hit all those buttons for me, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And with that being said, let's turn it around and dive in. Alrighty, you guys, and here we are with round 2 of our locals this week. We have Red Sin Shenron on the right side versus Supreme Kai on the left. Red Sin starting this game off for us by charging an energy and then activating his leader effect. Unfortunately for himself, it looks like he did... Oh wait, no, never mind, I apologize. It looks like he activated the ball force before using his leader effect, and now there is none in his life, and he will proceed to go into his deck and then find himself 2 balls from there. And then after this, we will go ahead and see the pass. We'll probably see the activation and then the pass turnover to Supreme Kai. So we'll see charge 2, draw 2, pass turn, unless he pays 1 for a dragon here. He very well may. Yep, so he does. He top 5 searches here for himself a dragon. Sorry, my logo was in the way of whatever he found there. Probably a dredge destroyer if it was to be my guess. Yeah, I do apologize about that being there. Looks like we do swing with the leader. Kai swings with leader first, and then of course Sin Shenron does go ahead and combo out of that attack. Supreme Kai going ahead to pass turn over to Sin Shenron here, allowing him to get his next 2 balls, and as long as he sees himself in Oceanus here, he'll probably have his awakening. So we'll see. Yep, it looks like he drew his last ball, so we do see the Shenron Classic turn 2 awakening going into 1 energy with Supreme Kai. Kai, being black, doesn't have very great defenses in general, so here comes a Dredge Destroyer. Draw a card, play him out. We'll see the awaken of the leader next. Untap an energy, untap the leader. We're swinging with the leader here. Try to put from 8 to 7. Yep, so that does go through, of course. We draw a card with the leader swing there. And then, of course, we will see the swing of the Sin Shenron. This is a 20k double strike that goes directly to Kai's hand. And look at that. It looks like he got his secret rare from his life. Very, very solid card to be pulling from there. Not going to be needed for at least 2 more turns, but very good. So we do see 1 energy for an Oceanus. Oceanus comes out, of course, draws a card. Would put a ball from the deck into the Z energy, but unfortunately, we are already maxed out on balls, so we just shuffle there, and from there we'll see if he decides to pay an energy. Nope, does pass turn right over to Supreme Kai. Kai charging his 2nd unison. It looks like he's seen way too many unisons this game. So we definitely want to see an overroam, but we definitely want to see the unison come out first. So we'll see if he has the unison in hand or if he just charged it. Kai trying to figure out how to best defend from Sin Shenron, while at the same time you also got to be able to put on the pressure. So we'll see exactly what he does here. Looks like we're coming to a point where we do have a line of play lined up. Looks like we're going 1 energy here. I would imagine this is for his unison or for a Shen Noble Supremacy. Yep, so 1 outcomes for Shen Noble Supremacy. Of course, we draw a card, and then as long as you're at 3 or less energy, your opponent cannot attack with 7 or more battle cards during their next turn. Very solid effect and great card to be having in your board for Kai. Looks like we do combo that off directly in order to get to 15 added damage, while at the same time provide us some more cards in our drop area for a bigger overwhelm. We are at an overwhelm max of 7 right now, so we could definitely go into a bigger overwhelm 6 to start it off. Yep, starting off with Man on a Mission here. So that does get hit with Gohan. And then, of course, out comes Max Saiyan. Max Saiyan does go ahead and warp both of those 2 attackers and then swings for 20k critical. Very powerful card, that Gohan in the Shenron deck. It just is turned on so quickly. Like, you could have that turned on as long as you open a ball. Like, you open one ball and that Gohan is live on turn one with Shenron, which is very, very powerful. So of course, utilizing that card against that Man on the Mission double strike crit, we definitely want to pay one to play a double striker and get rid of a double striker, then take a double strike crit. So it looks like we're starting off paying one for an Ice Shenron, paying one for a Dredge Destroyer right after, starting off by swinging with the Ice Shenron. 15k goes through. Next here we are swinging with the Sin Shenron. Of course, Sin Shenron is a bigger body 20k double strike, and of course this double striker does get to pop a dragon from his side of the field, and if he does so, he gets to choose one of his opponent's battle cards and minus it by 20,000. So if he does so, I imagine he gets rid of Max Saiyan if he decides to get rid of his Oceanus or his Ice during this turn. More than likely getting rid of Ice because Ice will come back as a critical attacker. We'll see what he just decides to do here. Looks like prepping up. Yep, looks like we are using a support of the Dark Empire. Negate the attack, play a blocker. We do go down to 3, which is a little unfortunate, but we are, Sin is under Noble Supremacy right now, so he doesn't have the option of going into anything bigger than the Dredge Destroyer. So, a little bit safer for Kai to do that this turn than a later turn. But that's fine. We'll see what he decides to proceed into here. He's still unawoken at 3 life. We'll see. He does feel like he's on the back burner here. We'll see if he can come out of this. Comboing 2 cards into this critical attack here. We got a solid 25 crit. We'll see if Kai decides to take it or combos out of here. Letting the crit go through. And it's a Koitsukai, not a bad grab. Because now, going into his next turn, he can Koitsukai before playing any of his battle cards, and that absolutely shuts off cards like Gohan, cards like Rage or the Rage Shenron, that would be a blocker negate, and then as well as the testing the opposition cards, all would be taxed under Koitsukai. So definitely a good crit. Not good to be taking a crit, but especially being unawoken and now at 2 life, but definitely good that it was Koitsukai. So we'll see if Shenron decides to tap himself out here and aggress a little hard. Probably not though. I don't think Shenron will leave himself susceptible to the clap. I imagine he leaves an energy up for some sort of defense here. And of course, being Shenron has a free Z leader that is at 20k, you always have that to lean on. If you end up getting down to 3 life, of course you can flip into your Z leader and just be that much more beefy. So we'll see what he decides to do here. It looks like we're comboing out of this attack. Super combo, bottom deck 1, draw 2. Getting up to 20k because he is still unawoken. Very odd playstyle for this Kai to be playing like this. I have almost never seen Kai play this, how should I say this slow in the beginning. Normally Kai is a way faster deck in the early game and then slows down later game. But it looks like he's planning on dealing with the early aggro from Shenron, because Shenron is kind of the same way. It's a lot better in the early game and then slowly dies out as the game goes on. So it looks like Kai is probably trading off that aspect of his deck to let Shenron do it while he proceeds into a more defensive state to so that he can explode later game. We'll see if that comes to fruition like I expect. So of course, going into turn 3 here, swing, I believe, with the 20k, and then from there we do go ahead and play the Unison. Of course, out comes Unison. Then we go into the Overwhelm. Overwhelm trunks the Regulator, draw 2, warp 1, warping out the Cumber from hand, better in the warp because it is a 1 plus 10k, and plus it plays from the 10k, so very, very good. Of course, swinging with the leader, I do apologize, a little bit late on this. Getting the full leader auto, burst 3, draw 1, awaken, draw 2, get the 15k now, and of course when we when we overwhelm for our second time, we'll proc the second leader on our second auto on our leader, which is pretty nice.
Going for a big overwhelm 6 here after swinging with Trunks the Regulator. Of course, grabbing back himself. It looks like a Max Saiyan. And then, of course, getting his leader effect to move 3. He would draw a card here, I believe. I just don't know if he did. And then, of course, he would get the burst from his Unison. Oh, wait, no, that happens on the first attack. I apologize. Or on the first overwhelm, I do apologize. We're paying 1 here for Max Saiyan. Going into the big boy, getting rid of 2 battle cards. And then, of course, we are swinging for 20k critical. It looks like we're comboing the Goku, trying to force a lower board state onto shenron, while at the same time not adding any cards to his hand, trying to just deal with board state and then only swing the critical attackers into the leader. So it looks like we do pass turnover into turn 4 for shenron. We are not under Sin Noble Supremacy, but we are not at 3 or less life, so we cannot get to the point where we could free play 8 cost, but we definitely are to the point where we can pay 2 for it. But of course, being a red deck, paying 2 for something is a little costly, especially going against another aggro deck that if we does survive, of course, the Triple Striker, going into his next turn, you will be that much less energy to work with in terms of defending. So starting off his turn, looking like he's making himself decisions on what to play. It looks like he's... Oh, okay. He's paying 1 to combo a Frieza, which will give his leader a critical, while at the same time comboing 2 extra cards, forcing some cards out of Supreme Kai Time's hand, or, of course, the 1 life. We'll see what he decides to do here. It looks like he does combo out, taking 4 cards from Kai's hand in order to not take that critical damage. And then, of course, we're paying 1 energy for the Nova, swinging 15k into the leader. Of course, this guy is probably just bait to get some combo power out of hand to pop it with the leader in order to replay him and, of course, draw a card off his auto. So it looks like we're swinging for 20. We comboed up, going for 20. Comboing 2 cards from Kai's hand. Very, very rough. It looks like Kai's losing a lot of hand power very quickly during this turn. But at the same time, it looks like Omega Shenron's hand is getting quite low as well. It looks like he's got about 5 to 6 cards in his hand here. So as long as he's playing things that draw cards on play or on use, of course, replace themselves when you use them, will be pretty solid in terms of keeping your hand size generically around 6. He's going into rush deck here, so of course not losing a card from his hand in order to play this guy. This guy comes out and swings for himself a 15k. It does get petrified, so unfortunately we don't get to activate the effect to make him a dual attacker. So that is a little bit of a downfall in terms of tapping yourself out and trying to really go for game, because it felt like the right thing to do. Kai was at 2 life. Black naturally doesn't have the greatest defenses, and you're just being aggro and going in. Rush attack seems like the great idea, but of course falling into petrification and just now you're tapped out while going into turn 4 for Kai. Very rough, especially when you've seen that he set up his secret rare the turn before. So we'll see what he decides to do here. Looks like we're paying 1 for Koitai, bottom decking 1 to draw 1. Didn't want to do the full 2. His other card in hand held too much value to him, it looked like. So we'll see what he decides is the best bet. Looks like we're paying 1 to pitch a card from hand in order to play his Unison. He does have quite a few cards in his drop area. Starting off with an Overwhelm 6, going for a man on a mission, drawing a card, moving 3, bursting 1 off his Unison, moving 3 from the warp to the drop area off his leader. It looks like he just... I apologize, very confused there. He's got a plus on his Unison. Yep, he's just trying to go straight into man on the mission. No steps in between that. He forgot 1 step. Plus on the Unison and then finished the Overwhelm, so he had the Overwhelm 6. Comboing up to 25 here. This, of course, will put Shenron from 6 to 4 without adding anything to his hand. And if he does decide to play a card during this turn that's 20,000 power or less, he will. go ahead and lose some life here. So it looks like he did combo out of that attack. It looks like now we're going into swinging 120k at a time, starting off with the leader, 15k, and then the 2 max Saiyans that are in field. It looks like we do negate, playing a testing the opposition. Of course, this is a blocker with less power than 20k, so you do have to warp 2 cards from your hand in order to make that happen. But of course, now we have a blocker on field, and we are at 3 or less life to go ahead and satisfy our Z leader requirements. So it looks like we're going 2 energy in for Cumber here. He gets to choose a card ignoring barrier, warp it, and then play. So we'll see what he decides to warp here. Targeting out the blocker, of course, the best choice here. And then, of course, he gets to warp a card from the life and then play a card from the warp, choosing this Dredge Destroyer. And then from here, we're probably just going to start swinging leader. Of course, still under Quetzalcoatl. It looks like we do see testing the opposition. We have to warp 2 cards from our hand. Of course, now we just have to bait the blocker and then order to swing with the 40k. And it looks like that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Kai won it. Like, comment, subscribe. We will see you guys next time.